Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla and I like to talk about books, reading vlogs, book reviews, all that kind of stuff. So if any of that interests you, then please like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. But today I'm going to be talking about the book None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. So I'm gonna kind of do my typical format where I do like a summary synopsis and then I will get into my thoughts, my review. Apologies if you can hear my neighbors doing yard work. It's because they are doing yard work. Not much I can do about it. But anyway, I will just kind of get into it. I'm gonna try and keep this spoiler free, but I'm probably going to talk a little bit about the ending. I'll try to keep it very vague, but I will also leave a little bit of a timestamp and provide you with a warning when I do start talking about it. So even though I'm gonna keep it kind of hopefully vague, I'm still gonna give you all those warnings and everything. But let's just get into a little bit of a summary. Josie is turning 45 and while out to dinner celebrating with her much older husband Walter, she comes across another woman named Alex who is also celebrating her birthday at the same restaurant. And immediately we are kind of struck by differences in these women and their appearance and the way they carry themselves, and as we find out later, just the way their lives are. Going back to this, if it weren't really off enough that they are celebrating their birthdays on the same day at the same restaurant, they are actually also both turning 45 on that day. And they were born in the same hospital down the street. So same day, same everything. I definitely thought that this would probably play into the story more than it did, but it's still a very unique part of it. And it's what brings them together. So they connect that night for being birthday twins. And following like their brief little conversation at this restaurant, Josie actually ends up tracking down Alex and encourages her to do a podcast together. So initially this obviously seems kind of innocuous. It's not that weird to track down a person that you had a real connection with, especially in the day and age of like social media. If you met someone in person and they had like a social media presence and you knew them and you knew like where their kids went to school, it wouldn't be that bizarre to track them down and like try and have a cup of coffee with them. But it's kind of clear that Alex is not super interested immediately. She does, however, end up ultimately meeting with Josie. Josie works as like a seamstress or at a tailor's shop, and she says, well, come get a few alterations and then we can talk. And so Alex comes and gets a few alterations, but Josie basically brings up the idea of a podcast, because Alex has a podcast where she interviews women who are like extremely successful and are in that second phase of life. They've overcome maybe obstacles to their success, their freedom. Josie kind of presents the idea to Alex, well, what if you did a podcast about women who are about to be in that phase? Like women who have not yet hit their perfect stride, have not yet hit that phase, but are like in progress. And Alex is like, I'm not so sure, but like that could be kind of interesting. But as Josie starts to tell her story, begins to tell her story, it's clear to Alex that this is pretty interesting stuff. So she kind of agrees to go along with it, and here they are. They become not even really friends, but she keeps interviewing her for this podcast as things unfold, as her whole story unfolds, because as I said, she has this much older husband, and of course it kind of comes out that she was incredibly young when they met. She was an early teen and he was like 40, so there's definitely some weird grooming stuff that she talked about. So it's just interesting, but it kind of comes out that basically she doesn't talk to either of her daughters, and this struck me as odd right off the bat. I thought it was so weird that she had a daughter who lived at home, and when we were getting the parts that were from Josie's perspective, it just seemed like such a weird relationship. Anyway, Josie and Alex, their relationship moves forward. As I said, Josie starts to tell her story and how stuck she feels in her life and how her children are like really lost to her. It starts to become kind of suspicious. It starts to get a little bit odd as she becomes really obsessed with Alex. She starts taking small things from her home. She even like takes some stuff out of her recycling, which is obviously pretty odd. Meanwhile, Alex's like seemingly perfect life is starting to show cracks of its own. It's starting to kind of seem like not as perfect as it once was, and her husband Aaron's drinking continues to get really, really bad. He is having like these benders where he often goes out for the night and doesn't come home until like the next day in the afternoon. No recollection, no clue what was going on. Yeah, he just really is having issues with that right now, and of course that's not what you want your husband to be doing for a number of reasons. A big one being safety. But these all kind of come together when Alex invites Josie and her husband over for dinner, and lost to another night of drinking, Aaron neglects to show up. Everything just starts to kind of come onto the table, and I don't want to give away too much about the rest of the story, so I'm just going to kind of leave it here, but I thought it was pretty good. So let's just get right into the review. I want to start off by kind of commending the scene, not quite open, yeah, like the opening scene where these two women first meet for the first time. I think it was really well written, that juxtaposition of these characters. I feel like without it being super explicit and obvious and full of tons of explanation, we got kind of an idea off the bat of who these women are. And I'm not talking about like the details, I guess, but more just like a feeling for what type of people they are. Like, it's clear that Alex is really beautiful, has this really ideal kind of life. It's clear that Josie has probably felt like maybe more of a wallflower, or acted like more of a wallflower. She's been less like stunningly beautiful and is just a little bit more, I don't know, it's just clear that she is out to dinner with this really aging husband and is just less satisfied with her life. I could just feel exactly how Josie was feeling. It was so palpable, that like discomfort when you see somebody basically having a better life and a better time than you. I don't know how else to explain it. And I just feel like little details were absolutely not forgotten in this. I thought it was such a well written opener to kind of set us up for this story, and it completely painted the picture that we needed right away of who these two women were and how they were different, I guess. Like, I switched point of views, which I always love and I thought was really necessary. Just, yeah, really liked how it switched points of view, but then how it also had the point of view of like the special. I think it was supposed to be kind of like a Netflix special, like the Netflix special that was reporting on it. I don't know, I really liked how it had like those different points of view, and not all of them were like people per se. It was like the story being told through a medium. So I really liked that format, and I also felt like this premise was pretty unique as well. It was obviously told via like their points of view, podcast, interview, Netflix special thing about it, and I don't know, I really liked that. I thought it was unique, and I really liked the premise of them meeting because they're like birthday twins and everything unfolding from that. So I thought it was a really good blend of like unique and familiar elements for storytelling. So it had a lot of like point of view switching and like a lot of normal like elements you would find in a mystery true crime kind of book like this, but then it also had some definitely very contemporary, especially given the huge boom in like true crime podcasts and Netflix specials and stuff like that. So I just really enjoyed that formatting. Just such an interesting one, the whole way the story unfolded. This is where maybe some people would really not like it. Maybe it's contentious that I really enjoyed the ending. I'm going to talk about the ending. I'm not really going to spoil it, but I'm just going to let you know I'm going to talk about it a little bit in vague terms. So like I said, it kind of left it open to interpretation, and something that I liked personally was that even Josie herself, we get it from her perspective, and she talks about how she's unsure of exactly what is true in her web of lies. She even like says this explicitly, like, I'm unsure what is true in all of the lies I've told, basically, which kind of leaves the reader to come to their own conclusions as well. Personally, the air just popped on. Personally, I loved that because you just weren't sure what was true, what wasn't, and the entirety of it. And I kind of have my own idea of what I think happened, but the reader gets to kind of tease it apart a little bit. And to me, that just feels more realistic in a way, but also just, I don't know, I just really liked that. I thought it was eerie. I thought it made it so like we're just second guessing ourselves. We just don't know what to believe. I could understand why maybe people wouldn't like this and would think it was like maybe corny or this or that. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Enough about the ending and enough about this. I'm just gonna say overall I enjoyed it. If you like this kind of book, you'll probably like it. I think it was fun because it gave us kind of a true crime story while also kind of like poking fun at it a little bit and at all of the podcasts and specials. I thought that was great. Perfect for 2023, like very meta, not very meta, a little meta and just kind of funny. Little commentary while also still being its own standalone good story. But I think people are having probably mixed reviews to it. I could imagine this could maybe be a little polarizing. Let me know below if you've read it, what your thoughts were. Like, do you agree? Do you disagree? What your thoughts are on Josie as like a character, as a little bit of antagonist. Just let me know. That's gonna be it for this review. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you later.